Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wine with Jimmy channel. Bonjour tout le monde. It's delighted to have you on board, and welcome to the wine educational channel here, designed really to help you through your wine qualifications and examinations, but also just to enjoy wine a lot more. So here we are looking at a series on the beautiful northeastern French region of Alsace. It's a 9-part multi-series. It just keeps on going and on going. It's a little bit like, I don't know, something like 24, the series, and it never stops. So yes, we have the first 3 parts, including this video, as free content on the world of YouTube. But parts 4 to 9 are available only on my e-learning portal. That's at www.winewithjimmy.com. Please go across, subscribe, and enjoy all of that extra content, including lots of things like examination questions, revision sessions, flashcards, and of course, exclusive video content. So if you do have any comments or concerns or questions and you just can't even rest until you've got it off your chest, then please pop it in the comments section below this video. And whilst you are visiting down there, you can also get in touch with the clicking buttons of the like and the subscribe variety. Why? Because the like helps us here, and subscribing also means you'll never be out of the loop with Wine with Jimmy videos. If you are social media inclined, then you can get in touch with the social media handles at the bottom of every slide. And also the Wine with Jimmy portal is ad-free. So that's another real quite lovely thing. Now let's get into the world of soils and geology and topography here. So love a bit of geology, love to talk about land formations, and that's going to be the first few slides, just discussing how the landscape here was formed. So let's go across to that. Here we go. Should be prepared for this. There you are. So the formation of the landscape. Here is a couple of diagrams for you. Quite a long time ago, 300 million years and 150 million years ago, of what's called the primary era here and the secondary era. Now, 300 million years ago, the primary era, the oldest of the great time divisions, pressure caused a monumental upthrust of cooling magma, and this solidified into igneous rock. That's what's being depicted on the left-hand diagram. Then, about 150 million years ago, as the Jurassic transitioned into the Cretaceous era, Alsace, what we now know today, was actually covered by an inland sea, quite a shallow, warm inland sea. Over the millennia, the igneous rock eroded and was covered by sedimentary deposits from that inland sea. So think about all of the animal life that lives within that sea. And when they die, they fall to the bottom and their bones would form eventually into these sedimentary soils over different epochs, different times. And that's what's being depicted on the right-hand side. You'll see you've still got the orange of the granitic as a base rock, but then we've got the layers of sedimentary soils after that. Okay, so we've now discussed the fact that we have a base of granitic and then we have sedimentary soils on top of that. So now we come to what we call the Tertiary Era, and this is in 2 phases. The left-hand side, the first phase, and the right-hand side, the second phase. Now, during this Tertiary Era, in which mammals came to dominate the Earth, there was tremendous upheaval and buckling of landforms, with the Afro-Arabian and Euro-Asian crustal plates colliding, and of course creating huge friction across the land masses. Like a souffle, a great dome of earth rose in this area of Alsace and then fell along parallel fault lines. So that's what we're showing you on the right-hand side. The western side of the Graben, now the Graben is this middle part. They call the rises horsts and the middle part a Graben. Okay, and on the western side of the Graben, there was not one clean break, but rather a multitude of fractures that developed into cross faults. This faulting exposed many different soil types from many different geological epochs that we've just been talking about over millions upon millions of years. Here's another view of it, just so you get an idea. The Rhine cuts through this valley. The Rhine never made the valley. It found its way through the depreciated graben of this area. So it's a lucky river to not really having to work too much. But it is important to understand that the Rhine River is in the middle of this valley. And you'll see, therefore, we have some of those fault lines, and all these different types of geological epochs have been found. I actually think this slide really depicts it quite well. If only this was colourful, it would be much better. But here is a part of Alsace close to Colmar, identifying places like Rochefort, Bergheim, Riberville, Genevier, Riekweer as well, all of these different places, Beblenheim. You'll see all of these villages are dotted in the foothills of the Vosges. And these are all along fault lines. And you can see that because of these fault lines and because of different plate activity plus then erosion, you have really the exposure of a multitude of different soil types because of this, which is quite wonderful. So yes, very complex. Most of the best soils for viticulture are found in the foothills. However, the rich, deep and fertile soils at the base of the slopes can also produce quite good wine. Not always the highest quality, but decent quality wine can be produced. We therefore say that the diversity of the soil types in Alsace is plentiful. We say it has a mosaic of terroirs. And here you'll see a big list from granitic gneiss and schist, volcanic sedimentary, sandstone, limestone, and then all the different types of sort of calcareous and marly sandstones, and then the things like sandy loams and loess and alluvial stone deposits. So you've got a big range. This is really fundamentally important because this is why varieties like Riesling has a huge diversity. You can get expressions which are linear and fresh and quite floral, and you can get expressions which are rich and textured and honeyed. Look at the Albert Boxler Rieslings of Sonnenberg, wonderful south-facing granitic slopes, big, opulent, rich, textured, oily styles, and compare them to, I don't know, maybe some of the more limestone-dominated styles, which produce more cleaner and leaner expressions of Riesling. And the same is with other varieties. If you want Gewürztraminer, sort of expressing the typicity, the big opulence and the florals, the light cheese, etc., then often the darker, richer granitic soils will show that. But grown on things like calcareous limestone and marl, it produces quite fresh expressions for Gewürztraminer. I mean, I'm not saying fresh in terms of Pinot Blanc fresh, but certainly fresher styles. So this is what really creates the diversity in the area, which is absolutely fascinating. So just a few things from the diploma text. The best vineyards are often found at about 200 to 450 meters. Most of the best ones are about 200 to 300 meters, but Albert Boxler, for instance, is a little bit higher than that. They tend to be the ones that will face some sort of southerly aspect, southeast, south, or southwest, but it's not always the case. This is the Osterberg Grand Cru in this picture. And then, of course, the plains, heading down towards some of the villages and beyond, towards where we find a lot of agriculture, heading towards the Rhine River. Now, broadly speaking, the vineyards on the plains are on deeper and more fertile soils, promoting normally much more vegetative growth, and therefore they're suited for the higher yielding grape growing culture. So that's where you're able to get more sort of affordable sort of sub £10 Alsatian wines. Okie dokie. So that brings me to the end of the section on geology and topography. I really hope that you've enjoyed the series so far on Alsace. If you are hoping to continue, you'll need to go across to www.winewithjimmy.com to subscribe to my e-learning portal for access to all of the forthcoming videos. So please go along over there. If you wanted to get in touch, if you have any comments, questions or concerns, then please do so by the comments section below this video or social media at the bottom of every slide. And if you are visiting wonderful old Blighty, the United Kingdom, come and see us here in London. One of my establishments would be more than happy to have you for a class, a glass, or a bottle. I've been Jimmy Smith. Ciao for now. Bye.